Hey, Algebra 1 Part 1. We are going to be using a website today. It's from the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics. Anyway, it deals with these algebra tiles. Notice how it's like, it has a whole bunch of grade levels. And I want to stress that I realize some of you still are like, I don't get the modeling, but I promise you that if you come back to me for Algebra 2, we're going to see these. Anyway, one of the first things you need to do when you get to this website is scroll down. You're going to scroll down to use this. What I need you to do on your piece of paper is write down this example. So go ahead and press pause and write down this example on that piece of paper that the substitute gave you, -3 plus 4x equals 3 plus 3x. So go ahead and press pause. Now, this is strictly to really concentrate on modeling. And notice how we have x's on both sides. So I'm going to start exposing to you just how to build a model where there's variables on both sides. First thing I want to explain to you are all of these pieces. First off, notice how here are the x's, but if you don't like how it's horizontal, because typically we draw our rectangles vertically, we can press this. This button will rotate the rectangles to go vertical. So if I press it, shabam, now they're vertical. So the default will be horizontal, but now they're vertical. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 negatives on this, or sorry, I'm going to start with the x's. So I'm going to start drag and drop, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you haven't written this on your piece of paper, go ahead and do it. And I have 3 x's on this side. But the bad thing is, now I need to show like negative circles, or negative units. We typically use circles, they use squares. I see that I'm supposed to have 3 positive squares, or 3 positive units on this side. But how in the world can I get negative? So this button right here will change from positive to negative. So if I click on this button, it'll switch to either negative x's or negative units, whichever one I need. So I want negative units. Once you have what this model looks like, then you're going to click check. So the first time you click check is whenever you just have your model ready to go. So when I click check, it now says start solving for x. So now we're going to start trying to deal with 0 pairs. But whenever there's x's on both sides, I'm going to have to create 0 pairs with x's. So here's the rule. You might want to write this down. Instead of starting with, well, what they used to be circles, instead of starting with these squares now, we're going to deal with the smallest amount of rectangles. We want the rectangles on one side. So what we're going to do is get rid of these 3 rectangles by creating 0 pairs with the rectangles. The only way to do that is by getting negative x's with that. So I'm going to drag negative x's on. Because this is all about modeling and not about showing all of your steps, once I created 0 pairs, now I'm going to use this button to sort of zero out my pairs. I'm going to click on that button, and what's going to happen is I'm going to touch on positive and negatives at the same time and start eliminating my 0 pairs. That way I can see what's left. I've got my positive x left on this side. I need to create some more 0 pairs to get rid of these circles, because I want, in the end, a positive x on one side and squares on the other. So I'm going to add in 3 positives. But in order to do that, I need to switch my positive to negative. So add in 3 positives on both sides. Take care of your 0 pairs. So again, I'm pressing this button. Take care of your 0 pairs. Click on a positive and a negative at the same time on the same side. And notice how we have 1x equal to 6. So what I'm about to do is click in this box, press 6, and well, hope for the best. Let's check it. Yay! And then we're going to move on. Okay, so let's try this again. Alright, so to scratch it and try a new one, I'm going to press this green button, or this new piece of paper. And now I've got something a little bit more simple. X plus 1 equals 5. Let's show the model. Realize that I need, well, I already have x's on one side. Let's get all the numbers to the other side. So I'm going to switch my positives to negatives. By the way, if you have not written this example down, write this example down. I'm collecting the papers before you leave today. So write the example down. Click in positives to negatives. I'm going to add in a negative on both sides. Oh, wait. Back it up. I never clicked check to build my model. I got to back this up. Hold up. How do I get rid of something? I believe this eraser will erase my mistakes. So I'm going to click on those pieces that I messed up on, and now I'm going to go back to my pointer. So clicking back on my pointer, now I can click on my check. So I just clicked check, and now I'll put in my 0 pairs. I'm going to click to cancel those out. So we're just going to click the 0 pairs, see what I'm left with, and I'm left with x equal to 4. So I'm ready to type in 4. So you go up to the top, type 4, click check, see if we're right, and let's get one last one together. Good. I'm glad we randomly got a more difficult problem where there's variables on both sides. I just want to show you how we're going to build the model. Write this example down. Let's build the model together. So I'm going to have to press the positive negative to get some, because, well, all the things in this problem needs to deal with the positives. So starting to click and drag. So here's the thing about tomorrow. I'm always going to say, like, pick on your smaller x. Or I shouldn't say tomorrow, maybe in a couple days. We're going to really dive into harder problems like this. But I'm always going to pick on my smallest x term. So I'm going to just add in, oh, by the way, almost forgot, check my model, make sure that's right. Now I'll start adding in negative pairs, so I've got to click the positive to negative. And I'm just going to add in a negative x on both sides. Let's click on 0 pairs, tap them, so that way they go away. Now my x's are on this side, so I'm going to want to get rid of these units. So I'm going to add in 4 units on both sides that are negative. Once I put in 4 negatives on both sides, I'm now going to click on the 0. We're going to cancel out 0 pairs, one at a time. Oh, whoops. Notice how I have 2 x's and nothing on this. The last piece was I got to go back to my pointer because I want to divide these. The last step was to divide your bars and start pinning up, like, okay, how many go to each bar, but there's nothing on this side. So nothing can go to each x. This is going to have to be a 0. So let's click check. What? So this means I did something wrong. Something about this software is if I scroll down, it actually tells you what's going on. And I want you to realize it says right here, remember only equal, or sorry, hold up. It says arrange the tiles so only a green tile remains in one half of the workspace. So because of that, I think I need to just show what one of these x's equal. I'm going to erase one of these x's so that way we can zoom in on, okay, 1x is just down to 0. Well, let's see if it checks now. Woot woot! So let's make sure even after we divide, so after we do all of our division, we erase everything else except a green tile and how much it equals on one side. Let's see what you can do. What I want you to do is on the back side of your piece of paper, I want you to go to this app, which is in our Google Classroom. You go to this app, you see what problem they give you, and on the back of this piece of paper, everybody's assigned a random one. I want to see what your problem starts with and how you end with using this software. good luck.